Hello guys, welcome back to SWS Boxing. Delighted to get on the channel Luke Pearson. He's now 10-0. It's been a bit of a while, but pleasure getting him back on. And yeah, he's boxing on the 29th of June at York Hall for the vacant Commonwealth silver title against Peter Edward Ndebo. Yeah, 10 rounds. Yeah, and he's fighting for his first belt, so it's two weeks today.
It is. It is 2 weeks today, mate.
But yeah, I think last time I spoke to you was quite a while ago. Was the Bill Ahmed fight? That's when
Yeah,
I last saw you at your call. But yeah, you fought twice since then, and yeah, we'll just briefly talk about your last two fights. You fought Stephen Maguire at York Hall on the 9th of December. And you beat him 60-53 and you put him down in round four.
I did. Yeah, yeah. He was a tough fella. Quite durable. He was very game. He came to have a go, which is always nice. But yeah, I got the win and then moved on to my last fight.
Did you when you put Maguire down, did you expect him to get back up? Because it was a well-timed shot that you put him down with.
I don't know. It was one of them shots that it just it didn't feel like I put anything behind it, but it had such an effect. Like you said, it was timed well. It landed flush. You know, I was in my head. I was hoping that he weren't going to get up, but obviously, he got up. He beat the count, and then we went on to do the next two rounds. So
Yeah, and it was a good. Would you say that's were you happy with your performance that night? Because it was a good performance. So not many people dropped Maguire.
yeah, I think we'd worked on a few things, trying to be a little bit more aggressive and trying to set the feet a little bit more. And the plan was trying to push him back, because all the time he was going backwards, I could let my hands go and be a bit more powerful
What,
with what I was
especially
letting
when you had him
landing.
on the ropes, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's when you let your hands go. Yeah, and then talk about your last fight you had in April. These months are flying by. I mean, this year, in my opinion. But yeah, you fought Marvin Solano, a very tough opponent who was 24-14. So he was a good opponent and a bit of a step up, wasn't it, for you? And you won 77-76, and that was in
yeah,
Aldershot.
yeah. That was a tough fight. Um, you know, he's used to fighting at the couple of weights above. He normally fights at super feather and stuff like that. But he came down to fight at the weight that I fight at super bantam. He was tough. He was game. I didn't realise that he was South America's champion 2 years in a row, and I
Ooh.
didn't realise that he'd fought for a WBC title. So it was a bigger step up than what I originally thought, because I didn't think that much. Like, I thought, oh, he's just another bloke that's like a journeyman with a good record, tough man. But he weren't. He was a little bit more than that. Do you know what I
But
mean?
it brought the best out of you, didn't it?
Yeah, I had to concentrate the whole fight. I had to be clever, pick my shots, um, and I had to box him. There was no trying to take the fight to him, because he's naturally bigger, naturally stronger. So it was more counter shots and work everything off the jab and my movement.
Yeah, because sometimes, the ref, when it's one person scoring and it's the ref scoring the fight, sometimes they judge a fight on somebody who's coming forward, and that's not, how it goes. Because most of his shots were hitting your gloves.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's it's a hard one to. I've been told that a few times. People say, "Oh, but it looks bad because you're boxing on the back foot. You're slipping, you're sliding shots." But they're being really aggressive, and it's like,
It's not
but their
about the
shots aren't
aggressiveness.
landing.
Yeah,
Yeah, their
exactly.
shots aren't landing.
Yeah, and I don't think the scorecard was. I don't think it was that. I would say maybe 77, 74, maybe 75. But I think that you deserve that win. And when it was 77, 76, like when the fight ended, did you know that you'd done enough?
I felt like I had done enough. But when they read the scorecards saying 77, 76, in my head I was like, oh no, have I not done what I needed to? Do you know what I mean? But I got the result. You know, I boxed to plan that we like what we organised and what we decided to do, and I got the win, which has put me in line for this fight. So I'm really happy.
Yeah, exactly that. And it was a good fight, you know, before a fight like this. I mean, your upcoming fight, it was a good sort of fight to have before, you know, your big fight in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I got the 8 hard rounds in with Solano.
That was your first
Um,
8 rounder, wasn't it?
yeah, and got my like, you know, tough 8 rounds in with him, and I still felt like I had some in the tank to do a few more rounds if I had to. So it's sort of not fitness wise, you always know that you're fit to do the rounds. It's more, can I focus and can I stay concentrated for that many rounds when you're being put under pressure? And I had to concentrate. I had to stay switched on, and that's what happened in that fight. I kept it in there, and got the job done.
And you boxed smart as well, which you needed to do.
Yeah. There was it was one of them fights. Solano's quite a puncher. He's got a good record. He's very when he's hurt, that's when he's at his most dangerous.
Mm.
Um, so it was when I did land the shots that I landed, the big shots. It was trying not to be greedy, so I didn't get caught myself. So
Staying patient.
yeah,
Yeah, well, that's what you needed to do. I mean, even when, you know, fighters look hurt, sometimes you don't always, you know, you do want to get them out of there, but when they're hurt, you need to stay patient and pick your shots as well, because they're, no matter, you know, how hurt they are, they're also still quite dangerous.
exactly that. Anything can happen when someone's been hurt. If they're natural, like he did, naturally wanted to fight back and let his hands go, you could always walk onto something. So yeah, it was one of them fights that he was always going to be dangerous when he was hurt.
Mm, exactly that. And, you know, after that fight, did you know that, you know, that you would be closing into a title opportunity? Did you know that, you know, a title shot will come about?
I was hoping so. I got the record to 10-0. I was hoping so. But I didn't think it would be a Commonwealth silver or anything like that. I was just hoping for something like a Celtic title or a Southern Area title.
Hmm.
But they put me in for the Commonwealth silver, so hopefully I can get the job done in 2 weeks' time and you know move on and see what else I can challenge for.
Exactly that, Luke. One fight at a time. And yeah. Um, how's camp going? I can imagine, you know, next week's gonna be like your last big push of camp before you know, tamper down before the sort of fight. And yeah, how did camp go? All going?
Camp Camp's going well at the moment. I've had some really good spars, some tough opponents to spar. Um, John's been pushing me hard in the gym. Um, he's been having me do like 3.5 minute rounds with 30 seconds rest. Um, really making me push just so I know in my own head that I can get through the rounds and I'm going to be fit. So, yeah, we've been working hard.
Exactly. Good to hear, mate. Good to hear. Yeah, of course, you've got a guy called Peter Edward Ndebo, who you're fighting. He's 11 wins, 4 defeats with a draw, and he's got 8 wins by knockout. And his last fight he won by second round KO. That was in February this year. Do you know much about him?
I've watched a couple of videos. He's dangerous early on. He's very dangerous early on. Very big puncher. Um, but we're hoping that my movement and my shot picking will be the deciding factor in this fight. So
Hmm. Yeah, because I was trying to search him up on YouTube and I couldn't really find anything. Yeah, because when like fighters from overseas and from Tanzania, they don't really show their show, so it's hard to find bits of the fighter.
Yeah, yeah. We've seen a couple of not actual fights, but clips. Um, and yeah, he's a big puncher. He's quite I suppose, a pressure fighter. He likes to come forward. He likes to let his hands go. Um, so yeah, we'll over the rounds we'll change it up a bit and see what he's got in the tank and see what he's about.
Yeah, well, exactly that. I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, I've got his box rack up here. It says yeah, as you said, he's dangerous early on because his knockouts are coming from the earlier stages in the fight, you know, round two, round one, round four, and round two sort of thing. Those are his last knockout wins. So he's 4 KOs out of 5. So well, in his most recent 5 fights, I mean. But
Yeah,
yeah, he looks dangerous early on.
yeah. So we're gonna try and drag him into deep water and see what he's like in the later rounds, and hopefully he starts to tire and slow down, and I can start going through the gears and getting the job done.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big night for your gym, of course. It's you're fighting as for a belt, Jimmy as boxing, and Laura as well. So hopefully, by the end of the night, 3 champions.
Yeah, it'd be great. Like all us in the gym, Jimmy, Laura, me, we train. We're all in the gym training hard. All pushing each other. It'd be nice for us all to get the titles and bring them back to Guildford, and make the stable. Show how good the stable is, because we have got some good fighters in the gym.
Yeah,
So
100%, and first title for all of you, I believe this is.
it is, yeah. All of us are having a big step up and having our title shots on this show. So hopefully we can all step up and show what we can do.
Yeah. So what would they do with like the running order? Because I can't imagine that they'll have you all like one after each other. So what do you think they'll do, and what time for your fans, or will you find that out closer to the time, like what time you'll be on, sort of thing?
I'm not sure. We haven't heard anything yet. But I would assume that we would have a fight in between each of our fights. So I don't know if it would be me first, then a gap, then Laura, then a gap, then Jimmy, or something like that. I can't imagine. Um, I think there's 10 fights on the night, so they're gonna have to space it out so we can all sort of get our warm up and get our everything done rather than back to back fights. So
Yeah, I'm sure that that will happen. Is it on Fight Zone? Is it?
um, I think it is. I think it's a TM14 and a Nielsen show. They're
Yeah,
putting
they're
it on together.
collabing.
So yeah,
Mm. Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. Anyway.
yeah, mate. It'd be good. It'd be good to get us out there so people know a bit more about us and what we're all doing. So
Yeah. Yeah, so you're saying that you're hoping to see yeah, what can we sort of expect from you sort of uh would you say you're gonna try and start cautious, or just see when you get in there as he's gonna try and take you out sort of the first half of the fight, and hopefully try and tire him out with your movement and your with your smothering of his work sort of thing towards the back end of the fight?
I think the first four rounds or so, I've got to be clever. I've got to box. I've got to counter him. When he's letting his hands go, make him miss, make him pay, and just take the rounds that way. And then hopefully when he starts to slow down after 6 rounds or so, that's when I can start putting the pressure on him and start to push him back and, find the gaps. So that's
And
sort
they
of,
do get a bit wild as well, don't they? Um,
yeah. Yeah,
so
they seem to
maybe
swing a bit, don't they? They seem to swing a little bit when they start to get tired. They're quite, you know,
I
they
wouldn't.
keep coming forward, but there's nothing in the shots. Do you know what I mean?
I don't want to be rude, but they do get, what's the word? Not reckless. Like they do get a bit. They overload a little bit. Is the
Yeah,
word.
yeah. Yeah, they try to put everything behind their shots, especially when they're starting to get tired. They start to open up, and hopefully that's when I'm going to start finding the gaps and, causing the problems and the damage. So
And maybe there might be a stoppage as well. I mean, the stoppage is always the bonus, and it'll be a good statement if you did stop him. I mean, he hasn't been stopped in his current fight, so it would always be good getting the knockout. But the main thing is that you get your hand raised, which is the main thing.
that is, mate. That is the main thing, is the win no matter what. I haven't trained and worked hard to get to 10-0, to get this title shot, and then to have someone come and take it away from me. That's not going to happen. I'm coming there to make a statement and show what I'm about, and I'm there to win no matter what. So
Exactly that, mate. What does the Commonwealth silver title mean to you?
it means everything. From someone like me that's never had an amateur background,
Mm.
to be able to fight for a title such as this, and win titles as a professional, just shows how much I've put into to being at the level that I'm at. I've done it the hard way in a sense, and it means everything to me. Do you know what I mean? So
Exactly. What do you make of the current is it super bantam that you're fighting at? Yeah, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, what do you
yes,
make of the
super
current
bantamweight.
team at super bantam, whether that's British, Southern area level, yeah, just overall.
There's some really good fighters at super bantam. You've got some even fighters that have had a fair few fights that are sort of on their way out. They've still got, they're still good quality fighters. Um, and at the top of that, at the top of the British level, you've got, Dennis McCann, you've got Liam Davis, you've got so many good fighters.
Who do you think
Um,
wins with sorry to interrupt. Who do you think wins between Liam Davis and Shabazz Massoud, as that's coming up in July, so just over a month.
I I think Liam Davis. He's quite tall. He's long. He's very powerful. Um, I think it would be a good fight, a good interesting fight, tough fight. But I just think Davis he's on a roll at the moment. Do you know what I mean? He's beating all these top lads, and it's
He
just
knocked that Robles out, didn't he? And no one
he
expected.
is exactly that. And he's so got that flipping ball rolling now. The confidence is up. Everything's going well for him. I think it's going to take a big performance from someone to beat him at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it will be a good fight, but I just think, I mean, based on some of Liam's last performances, I've just think, and that Robles, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Robles beat McGregor. So,
Yeah,
and Liam beat him in 2 rounds. I thought Liam would win, but I didn't really expect Liam to knock him out. I thought Liam's more of a boxer, but Liam as well, he times his shots well, and sometimes it's his speed and timing that gets them. Because again, he stopped Cunningham. Yes, Cunningham was, coming towards the back end of his career, but it's still a big win for him when he got a first round knockout over Cunningham. No one expected that as well. I think Liam's like, he's done it the hard way as well. He's come through the small hall route, and now he's at the big stage. So, yeah.
that's it, mate. Yeah, I think that's a big fight, and I think Liam's going to come through it quite comfortable. I think in the end, and then he's going to move on. And he's going to want bigger and better things. So
Mm-hmm.
it all just depends what they can offer him after he gets through this fight, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, what did you I'm not sure if you've seen, but Frankie Story became the Southern Area Super Bantamweight champion. I think it was last weekend or
Yeah, I saw that. Because they offered me the fight against Frankie Story, and I'd obviously already said yes to this fight, the Commonwealth.
oh.
Um, so I didn't take the fight for the Southern Area, but that is always an option after I win this one. Do you know what I mean? Frankie Story's a good fighter. Um, very strong, very aggressive. You know, that's another good fight down the line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly that. Just yeah, and another fight that I've seen that's been ordered for, I think it's the English Nico Lavars v Razor Ali it's been ordered for the English. I'm not sure when that
Yeah,
fight will be scheduled, but it's been ordered. I've seen.
yeah, yeah. I know Razor quite well. I've sparred him a fair few times. Um, very, very good fighter. You know, very strong. Has a lot of backing. Has a lot of people following him. You know, there's so many good fighters at our weight. It's, you know, you could easily say the top 15 are very, very good. Do you know what I mean? They could all beat each other. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's one of them divisions that at the moment it's on the way up, and there's a lot of good fighters in there.
Yeah. It's yeah. Yes. Have you got any tickets left by any chance for anybody who wants to get hold of tickets? Can they still
Yeah,
you still have any?
yeah. I've still got a few ringside left. I think I've got about 5 or 6 ringside left, and then I've got about 10 standard tickets left. Um, so I've still got a few tickets left if anyone's interested. You know, it'd be a great night, some 3 title fights on the night, and a very, very stacked card. So it's going to be
Yes,
a very good show.
exactly that. You don't want to miss this show. And yeah, 3 champions by the end of the night. And as always, yeah, have you got a message to the fans, like who support
Um,
you?
yeah, just, you know, I appreciate them coming to support me. I appreciate them spending all their money to come and, you know, watch and, you know, show their support. I couldn't do it without them, and I couldn't do it without my sponsors. So without them, I wouldn't be getting this shot, and I wouldn't be able to, you know, train the way I train. So I appreciate everything that everyone does for me. So
You mentioned your sponsors there. Do you want to shout them out at all? Your team, managers, anybody?
uh, I'd like to do a shout out to my trainer John, and he's my manager as well, John Edwards. Um, Sponsors, I've got a company called Dodwells, which is a groundwork company. I've got Farrell's Builders Merchants. I've got Cut Price Carpets, and I've got Platform IT, which all sponsor me. So I appreciate everything they do for me.
hmm And yeah, from me, Luke, thank you for your time as always, and good luck on the 29th of June and the new mate. Go get that belt.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Bye.
Bye, mate.